and meditative practice. And you're also an assistant professor for...
Occasionally, yeah, that's what I do. On occasion, if I have to, when they can find me, that's what I do.
And I had to read that because I found it super interesting. For XR Technologies and Immersive Media in the Art and Design Department of the Northeastern University of Boston.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today, Clareese.
And thank you. No, not alone.
Speaker who's joining us, and they're online.
Elly, can you see?
Artist panel if you didn't break the rules from time to time, right? So we decided to sort of go with the flow. And this is Elly Clarke.
Recording in progress.
Elly is an artist and researcher who explores the performance and the burden of physicality in a digitally mediated world. And Elly does a practice-led PhD at Goldsmiths University, which is entitled, Is My Body Out of Date? The Drag Physicality in the Digital Age, which is very exciting. And you're gonna do a workshop today on dirty data poetics.
Yes.
And I'm just gonna give the floor to you.
Great. So this is more of like a desktop performance intervention collaborative experience kind of workshop.
Dirty Data Poetics with Clareese Hill, Elly Clarke, you, and ChatGTP, Wednesday, 17th
Dirty
of July.
Data Poetics with Clareese Hill and Elly Clarke. You and ChatGPT, Wednesday, the 17th of July, 2024. Room NU 3B05, EASST-4S, Amsterdam.
If you would like to be included in the group bio, drop your name here by following this QR code. We will search for you.
Welcome to our workshop, Dirty Data Poetics.
Slide 1, title slide, image description. A blended image of Elly Clarke and Clareese Hill digitally merged to symbolize the merging of identities.
Welcome everyone to our performance lecture, Disrupting Authorship, Creating Collaborative Identities in the Age of Surveillance. I am Elly Clarke.
And I'm Clareese Hill. Today we'll delve into how we can collectively challenge the traditional notions of authorship and identity.
As artists, researchers, and collaborators, we have been merging our identities to create new narratives aiming to disrupt the fixed notions of who we are.
Through this session, we hope to explore how to be visible and invisible within systems of computational surveillance, creating a new identity from the diverse experiences and backgrounds of all participants here.
Slide 2, Merging Identities, Image Description. A collage of different faces, ethnicities, and expressions overlapping each other, symbolizing the merging of various identities.
Our journey begins with the concept of merging identities. By blending our experiences, we question the stability and ownership of a single narrative.
This is not just a theoretical exercise, it's about survival and resistance in the face of surveillance capitalism.
Slide 3, authorship and alter egos. Image description. A series of figures with masks representing alter egos and aliases surrounded by surveillance cameras.
Let's talk about authorship and alter egos. In the digital age, the idea of a singular authentic self is increasingly problematic. Surveillance systems often attempt to fix our identities into easily categorizable data points.
Alter egos and aliases offer us a way to navigate these systems. They allow us to exist in liminal spaces, slipping under the radar and avoiding the gaze of technological big brothers.
Slide 4, surveillance and data collection. Image description, a figure holding a mirror up to a surveillance camera, symbolizing surveillance, watching the watchers.
Surveillance, or the act of surveying the surveyors, is a powerful tool. By turning the gaze back on those who watch us, we can begin to disrupt the flow of data collection.
Slide 6, interactive workshop prompt. Image description, A diverse group of people around a table actively engaging with laptops and notebooks, symbolizing collaboration.
For the next part, we'll work together to generate prompts. These prompts will feed into our tools, creating a real and fictive assemblage identity.
This identity will be a collaborative creation, blending our experiences, backgrounds, and races. It will both exist within and beyond the system that seeks to define us.
Slide 7. Collaborative identity creation. Image description, the resulting surreal image from the collaborative prompt generation, an abstract representation of a blended identity.
Here is an example of what we might create. A speculative identity that defies easy categorizations, offering a new way to think about who we are.
This process not only disrupts authorship, but also challenges the algorithm's reductive determinations. It's a creative act of resistance.
Slide 8, conclusion and reflection. Image description, a serene landscape with diverse figures blending into the environment, representing unity and diversity.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope this exercise has inspired you to think differently about identity and authorship.
Remember, our identities are not fixed. They are fluid, collaborative, and constantly evolving. Let's continue to disrupt and define them together.
Now, let's get started with our collaborative prompt generation.
We are excited to see the new identities we create together. Thank you so much. Let's begin. So if you would like to participate, please include your name and any other data points you would like to share with us at the top. My research puts drag into practice as a verb, to drag. By its very definition, drag is already a force in two directions at once, pulling forwards and backwards simultaneously. It is the tension that inspires and excites me, the fact that two contradictory forces are acting together to create one movement, one plural mode of transformation for and of a thing, object, identity. Throughout my research, I define drag as being both the performance of dragging up and a burden dragging down. Dragging doesn't need to go the whole way, but can remain in the less definable arena between binaries and endpoints. This less definable arena I am calling blur space. Like drag, I see blur as both a noun and a verb, as something urgent and necessary, a state of mind as well as a valid place to be and to remain. As with drag, occupying and acting or staying within the blur space can offer a form of resistance to what I am referring to as the snapping to grid of opinions, behaviors, and value judgments that social media encourages, engenders, and feeds on, resulting in ever-widening gulfs between binaries of opinions that is visible in relation to the climate crisis, the COVID vaccine, abortion and trans rights, political party polarization, and the ongoing horrific genocide in Gaza, to mention just a few examples.
Legibility is a term based on the embodied performance of code switching and double consciousness for survival. Legibility is a phenomenon where the body and the guide attempts to trouble and unpack its validity. Throughout our text, legibility becomes a background for dynamism and individuation among the precarity of the required fidelity of the performance of the bodily schema. In our text, the technological pitfalls of biased and homogeneous development environments and institutions becomes a praxis and methodology for seeking illegibility as a way of becoming opaque and malleable. In the context of our use of computer imaging, unrendered or partially rendered becomes an ally in refusing algorithmic hegemony.
Oh, it's not showing up. Sorry. I was supposed to share the screen, but it didn't share the screen. That's so weird. Sorry.
Oh, didn't it?
No, it didn't share the screen.
Oh,
It shared it
okay.
on my screen and not, yeah.
Oh, that's strange. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why.
And now?
So
Is
I
it shared?
switched
No.
Yeah, now it's working.
Okay.
Zoom problems. Welcome to our Zoom hell. Okay, so you're back. You're back, Ellie.
Yeah.
Open up to me. Share it all with me. Give it all to me. I want to know your history.
So if you
I want to know
haven't,
your story.
did everyone
I want to know your
include
mystery.
their data points? Did
Share
no?
it all with me.
That's okay. That's okay.
Share it all.
What is? I'm sorry. I have no clue what's going on with Zoom.
I want to know what you did last year.
Still there?
Yeah.
Where did? Oh.
Is it up?
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Why it keeps.
Not showing.
Yeah, it's like you were there and not there.
Okay. So this is the moment where you have the last chance to put in your data so that we
Yes.
can extract it for you with the help of GTP.
I want to know how you wore
Yeah.
your hair.
Yes, we
I want
can.
to know what you feel
As we fumble with
about
the
current affairs.
technology.
Open up to me. I want your data. I want your facts.
Ellie, do you want to show the QR code
I want
again?
to know the context, darling, of your acts.
What, sorry?
Show the QR code again.
It is showing.
To me. Share
For
it.
you, share your
Share it all
screen.
with me. Give it.
Share your screen.
Give it all.
Take it from me.
It says I'm
I
sharing.
want your code. I want
You
your
are?
code.
Yeah, I'm sharing.
Yeah, now you're sharing.
Okay.
Now you're sharing.
Okay.
Share it.
Yeah.
Share it all with
Okay.
me. Give it. Give it all to me. Open up to me. I want to see your mystery. I want to know your history. I want to know your story. Open up to me.
Understanding and claiming drag as both a performance dragging up and a burden dragging down. I'm exploring how drag and dragging can be engaged with to expose and play with some of this snapping to grid that interactions within technologies invariably bring out. By snapping to grid, I mean the ways in which data and bodies are organized by and within specific critical and physical templates of Microsoft Word, for instance, or the photo app on an iPhone, the formatting of an Instagram story, this Zoom call, or the street layout of a city, all of which direct and limit actions and behaviors taking place within them. Opacity is a non-deterministic exercise in attempting to realize a person's identity and cultural ties in its totality with reverence for difference. The intentional quantifying of a person into one of the problematic categories. To make them legible is an alliance to rootedness Western society is indoctrinated by. Opacity stretches the mind and social constructs through ecstatic, locationless allergies of reverence for difference. Opacity opens the possibilities of occupying a liminal space of just being with others holistically. This could be considered to cause anxiety if your goal is not, if legibility is not determined.
I don't want to live in a world where we have two kinds of citizens. Those in Europe who are, as I call them, first-class data citizens, and those who live outside with no data rights. If companies are going to make money from our data, then users should have a say in how their data is used and to what they do and do not consent. Being alive now means leaving a digital footprint, and you should be able to choose who you share your footprint with and how.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Okay. Da-da-da.
Today is the final day of the Daily Show's AI Week. But there's one aspect of the tech world we have yet to cover. That's right, I'm talking about facial recognition. Facial recognition software is the newest way to unlock your phone, tag your friends, or create Snapchat nightmares. But there's one aspect of facial recognition that still needs some work.
Is facial recognition technology biased? A researcher at MIT found that the technology works best for white men. Users with darker complexions saw more instances of being misidentified.
I found that the training data that's being used for facial recognition isn't as representative of the variety of human skin tones and facial structures.
Many facial recognition systems use the same data sets. If those sets contain mostly white faces, all the products that use that data can inherit those same biases.
I was struggling to have my face detected and pulled out a white mask, and the white mask was easier to detect than my face.
Yeah, so basically if black people want AI to see them, they just have to be stalking a slumber party or haunting an opera house. It works. Works out. For more about the blind spots of facial recognition is our technology expert, Dulce Sloan, everybody. Dulce, help me out here. Like, do we have to worry about racist machines now?
Trevor, don't be so quick to pass judgment on these robots. They're just out there doing their best. Is it such a big deal if they can't recognize black people? It's not like I can recognize any of their robot asses either. And remember, the robots aren't racist on purpose. It's not like they're out there shouting the N-word and binary code. Or putting up statues of Robo Ely. That South ain't rising again. No, the problem is there's not enough black people in Silicon Valley. So the first time robots see a black person, they malfunction like an Amish dude in Times Square. Just that machines don't recognize black faces. Sometimes they don't recognize black anything. Have you seen this video on YouTube?
Black hand, nothing. Larry, go. Black hand, nothing. Larry, go. Racist mother sinks.
You see that? Put robots in charge of the bathroom and they make it whites only again.
I had no idea there are soap dispensers that don't see black people.
I know! How'd they even get the little taxi driver inside of there?
That's a New York joke.
Don't affect me, I take lifts. Listen. But Trevor, I'm trying to look on the bright side. See, someday the robots are going to take over the world.
I'm waiting for the bright side.
Think about it. They can't kill us if they can't see us. Black people are going to be the only survivors, Trevor. Listen, I've had a vision of the robot apocalypse, and it doesn't look too bad for us. Ooh, good shot, Lasertron.
Who said that?
It was Chad.
Must kill Chad.
Look at that fine robot ass.
It looks like you figured it all out. Don't say slow, everybody.
Let's bring Elly back. This way.
Okay, so we're just entering all the search results at the bottom of the document. Thank you for providing your data points. And I hope it's going to be nice for you to know who you're sitting next to in the room. And ChatGTP did a good job of doing some mining. And so we're going to use this last bit, actually, if you to answer to just really, we want to kind of hear from you about how you feel about this, how much you are using ChatGTP, how you feel seeing your identity being kind of spewed out on the screen in front of you like that, if that is your identity. And just above all these search results in the document up here is where we'd like you to just spend a bit of time, and we've got some pointers here about kind of what we've been thinking through creating this workshop, and we'd love you just to spend sort of 5 minutes kind of collectively writing and responding to that, and then we'll speak beyond that.
And all of our source material is at the bottom, so kind of like our footnotes. I know this is an academic conference, but we like to play when we come through together, spaces. And so you can also look at some of the key terms that we've used, like the Catherine Charmel text is there, and the text that relates to opacity, which is by Edward Glissant, who's a Caribbean philosopher. So thinking about opacity and the right to be not reduced to a kind of like categorized identity or a completely legible identity. There's something poetic in the right to opacity, where if we're able to participate in the right to opacity together, you know, we can be human instead of being reduced to kind of like Western categories that feel most comfortable to us. Cool. And we'll do this for about 5 minutes. And while we do that, I'm going to hopefully play. I'm going to leave you up.
Yeah, that's
Elly.
fine.
Do you want to be left up?
You can leave me up, and
Okay.
I'll just sort of show this as it's
And I'm gonna share my
vigorously and
I'm going to share.
Are you going to play that song?
I'm playing it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So this is like a little point for meditation, and then we're going to check in. I don't know if this is going to work. No. I see what it's doing.
The baby weddle seal has not grown into her flippers. She is awkward. She does not want to swim.
It's not showing the whole
She does not know she can breathe
It's just
underwater.
showing
No one has told her about the great oxygenating capacity of her blood.
She doesn't know that the milk her mother gives her is some of the fat, richest milk in the world. Southernmost mammal on the planet, she doesn't know the depths of which she is capable. But her mother does. The mother weddle seal will push her baby into the water against her will. She will force her child's head into the water while the baby coughs and sputters and struggles and squirms. She is new here. She does not know that she can breathe underwater. Until she does. And then everything changes. By the time her mother weans her, she will be able to dive 2,500 feet below the water. Stay there for an hour if she wants to. Find a tiny hole she made for air after swimming 12 kilometers away. Move gracefully between frozen and liquid worlds. But she doesn't know. Am I the only one here in a lesson?
Inspiring crash, a struggle, staying who I thought I was, ignorant to what evolution has already written inside me. I feel out of my depth. But how? The tough love of the whale seal mother teaches a lesson about the difference between what is cute and what is necessary. What has been and what could be. And I am grateful for all of my mothers, biological, chosen, ancestral, mammal, and otherwise, like the copperhead snake who greeted me last night, which shocked me into knowing my capacity, to trust my lungs more than I thought I could, to breathe in ways I haven't breathed before, to learn my blood in ways I didn't know. As the whale seal grows, she will shed her fur, become sleek. She will feel completely at home in the ocean she avoided. She will see and feel things no other mammal has felt. But right now, she is coughing and spitting and clinging to what she has known. She feels like she is drowning, but she's just meeting herself again for the first time. Love to my mothers, all my parents, the push of the universe for laughing at me. Thank you to those of you who have pushed through portals already, even out of this life. We can move between worlds. Thank you for those of you living and evolving. The vulnerability of your newness is an example to us all. Thank you to those who hold me accountable, who expect me to be who I need to become. Thank you for ignoring the lies I tell myself about myself. Even in my resistance, I am grateful for all of you, for the love you are teaching me to Black and home, for the nurturing you put an example. What you learn by facing your own death, what you learned in your drowning is my breath.
I'll stop it there. You took it. Oh, great. Ellie's back. Yay.
So thank you for everyone's data here. Obviously this was a super short session in the end of just half an hour. If we had longer with you, we would extract more of your data and do much more kind of dragging together and dragging away with you and your data points and impartial collaboration. But I know it's 4 o'clock now, so I don't know if we have to stop right away. I can't see anyone to ask.
Well, we can maybe.
I think we have a few more minutes because we did introductions.
Totally fine.
So
Yep.
has anyone tried to chat GPT themselves and find out what chat GPT knows about you, what it does know, what it doesn't know? I have been recently doing that because when you get a real job, instead of the nice shell where you could like kind of be nobody, when you get a real job and they're like, oh, we need to put you on our website and we need to do like make you super legible. And like, oh, okay. So we've been playing with ChatGPT and also thinking about like prompt generation, kind of like a tool for combating, because how you interact with the ChatGPT ultimately is how it responds back to you. So you can get to a point, we were able to get to a point where it merged our identities and our bios. And we were also able to kind of like give it better information about us. So now it knows, at first it didn't know where I worked, and now it does know where I work and what I do there, because I just got, like I was there previously as in another position. And so I have a new position. And at first it was just my old position. And now it has my new position because of how much you interact with it as well.
So actually by feeding it, you do feed the system. So it's an interesting,
plenty of implications for climate and just, and in our classrooms, it's becoming a ubiquitous tool. Your students like rely on that instead of actually reading the thing you've given them to read, because it can also summarize text as well, but it's working from a very Western perspective. If you ask ChatGPT what it does, I suggest you do that. It's hilarious. Like, ask it what it does. It has a very interesting eye.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about how the machine becomes I. Becomes the subject, and the study, the kind of subject of study, becomes the object. So we become the object. So we're talked about in third person, and it's always I. If I had a bit more information about you, I would be able to give you a better answer. So, and I think also, of course, that sort of happened in the UK anyway, when ATM started saying, hang on, I'm just working on that. That happened a long time ago. So we're kind of used to machines being I, but it's interesting when the ChatGPT, the I doesn't exist except from the perspective of the machine, of the ChatGPT.
Yeah. And when you ask it, its role on climate, it's like all of a sudden it's like, I don't know because I'm digital. So it's like also like, potentially in the physical world, I'm doing damage, but I have no clue because, I'm digital. So we've been playing with that. And we're using the newest version of ChatGPT. ChatGPT 3.5 is a little dodgy. Does anyone have any questions or like thoughts?
How do you deal with the environmental cost for the pay that you do? I noticed I did when you put in, and it was not just because I felt like, where is this going to wake up? But it was also like, do I allow myself, is it needed for the environmental cost to play with this?
Yeah.
Right. As a researcher, and I'll speak about it after you, we're figuring this out and we're trying to critique it as we're playing with it. And I have qualms, so maybe you can help me out.
Right. I'm very ambivalent because, especially as someone who's in the classroom at like a STEM, Northeastern is in Boston. It's surrounded by MIT and Harvard. So it's very much a STEM school. Like a lot of my students are computer science majors. So you have to understand what they understand in order. I teach visual studies and creative media. So you really have to know what they're doing, and then you have to tell them how they're implicated within it. So when I teach my classes, I'm like, this is an extractivist economy. No, it is not invisible. Just because it's not in the backyard doesn't mean that it's not physical somewhere and that it's not ruining someone's quality of life. And someone like Catherine Youssef says the white utopia is a Black inferno, right? And so thinking about that. So every time you access Unreal Engine, let's think about that. I teach them how to use Unreal Engine and they're like, proficient in it. But let's think about what Unreal Engine is. How are you accessing Unreal Engine at a well-sourced institution that's R1? So we do research university. It's, I think, an American classification. There's a lot of implications to using it and helping them to learn how to use it responsibly. Because we're not like at an institution, you can't like not use it, but you can. I try to work with like informing and even informing myself. Like, who knows how much we were trying to figure out how much energy we have consumed experimenting and things over the last like couple of weeks, right?
I mean, for me, I teach actually on the art and ecology in Goldsmiths, so I actually don't really use it very much at all. And so it's been interesting also to do this, to kind of delve into it, because part of my research is really inhabiting the platforms that I want to critique. So Clareese and I talk a lot about kind of, trying to dismantle the master's house from inside the house, because it's very increasingly difficult to be outside it. So, you do need to kind of understand how it works, and to kind of see it in action is kind of like this crazy performance like we just saw. And the fact that just through a name, sometimes even just through a single name, how much information you find from someone. I mean, we sort of know it already because you see it on a Google search, but somehow when it's sort of written out like that, it's different. But the environmental cost is a major problem that I am very concerned about. And I don't really know. I wish I could hear this next. I heard the next talk is about this, and I wish I could be there to hear it. But yeah, I think we have to kind of find lower data means of doing this. And yeah, it is this ambivalent thing where we need to kind of understand it in order to critique it, but the environmental cost is not going away, it's just getting worse. So
questions? We maybe have time for one more.
Thoughts? You can also tell us you didn't like it. It's fine.
There's this website, it was actually put on in 2016 by Alex de Vries. Sounds Dutch. Yeah. And energy consumption index. It's that way before we all knew about these And I just wanted to put this again because it's all about contextualizing and putting it into perspective. And I think it's really valid to interrogate how much we are using, but construction is still worse. They have the graphs on the website, and the Sophie's guy has been putting everything into. And I think it's also interesting to contextualize it that way, because nobody actually, the mainstream doesn't exactly question construction practices. And 40% of the entire CO2 emissions worldwide in the Western world is construction. 2/3 of all waste, not to mention extractive practices, because every new building is a scar of somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I think because we focus on the newest thing that's mostly on our minds, but there's things that have been established and that we don't actually question that much. And the thing is, I have put my thesis into ChatGPT because one of my advisors doesn't speak English very well, and he was asking me to send him little compressed bits in German, and it is astonishing. It is absolutely insane, but the more I asked, the more it started hallucinating.
Yeah.
And I was asking questions that I said it's a tool to manipulate what
Yeah. Yeah.
it's actually manipulative tool.
Yeah.
Asking it things to have it reply, to hand over to my professor, for him to go, oh, yeah, this is actually what the machine said. And then it's like, I think there is a subversive practice into manipulating the machine that it's unavoidable in a way. But I think what you guys are doing is brilliant, and I only understood like 20% of it. Because I think working at these interstices of like, instead of being really doomsday about it, and oh, this is going to eat us up and take our jobs, and how do we subvert it?
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic what you're doing, because it is exactly the way I read it. It's exactly this intertwining with the machine and subverting the practices instead of saying, are we gonna do?
Yeah, I think the more we understand it, the less kind of like opaque it is. The more we can kind of like critique it, and maybe also like have some measures of accountability. Because I think the reason that no one's really holding anyone accountable is because you don't even know where to start. Like, I don't think anyone has ever put themselves into ChatGPT. I was like, ChatGPT was able to say a lot about me over a certain kind of like public span, right? So it's not like mining, it doesn't look like it's mining Instagram or things like that, but like what is on websites up to, I think, was it 22,
Yeah.
Ellie?
Yeah, it was interesting what it didn't know, such as I've got a dog and he's all over my social media everywhere, but ChatGTP had no, so that actually felt quite good, because that's sort of something that all my friends know, all my family, everyone connected with me on social media, and ChatGTP knew nothing about that. So there are actually these gaps, and which shows that this kind of idea that it knows everything, it is not necessarily true. So in doing these searches, so in my own practice, I've been doing kind of drag performance online since about 2015, and kind of will have a live stream going in the background that is not live. Anyone, there's a massive delay. So part of what I'm interested in doing is sort of exposing the kind of myths of these machines, of these tools that say they tell us everything, or they know everything, or they're instantaneous, or those sorts of things. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Clareese. Elly, thank you for joining online. We really appreciate it and breaking some rules and sticking with us through the technical problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for your contributions.
I'm gonna close the computer, okay, Elly?
Yeah.
So,
Bye.
but yeah.